We're about to go through another heat wave, and about 232 million people are going to be impacted because of this. But if you think it's the heat wave that's going to be the big issue, it is actually one of the issues caused by the heat wave, which is our power grids could be in trouble. So I want to break down what is happening right there. So this week is actually going to be quite different than previous weeks. And I say this because we are already being told by meteorologists that another heat wave is coming and it will be even worse than the last one. And I know parts of the United States are already experiencing massive heat. However, meteorologists say it's going to be worse. We know about 232 million people are going to be impacted just this week alone. And just this morning, we saw that 8 states were already under heat advisories. These states include North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, South Dakota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Kansas. And from what we're told, roughly 66 million people are going to be experiencing temperatures in excess of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And some of these major cities include cities like Minneapolis, Chicago, Nashville, Memphis, Dallas, New Orleans, and Atlanta. And according to meteorologists, they're saying that more than 100 heat temperature records could be broken just this week alone. Now, that's excessive. But you know what's interesting is last week, we actually received tweets from the Minnesota Department of Transportation, and they said that their roads could be buckling due to the excessive heat. So, if you're on the roads and you don't see anybody catering to them and fixing them, this is actually an emergency. Crews will be on site immediately to get these fixed. So if you see something like this, call the non-emergency helpline or hotline. Make sure people know what is going on so they can go and fix those issues. Because it's not just Minnesota. Every single state at some point will be impacted because of this heat. Some are saying that's going to happen for the central part of the United States this week, and then it will move slowly over to the East Coast. So if you're in line, you are going to be hit. Make sure you are prepared. And in just a minute, I got some tips to how you can actually prepare for either excessive heat without electricity, or what you should do in case the power grid goes down for a short period of time. Now I know talking about the heat wave is something that it's extremely important. A lot of people want to know what's going on here. However, according to experts, this isn't the biggest worry. The biggest worry is actually our power grids. Because just a couple weeks ago, we actually saw in Texas that there was Texas reached all-time highs as far as electricity use. But there was something that was very interesting that happened when this actually occurred. One of the interesting things is this actually happened on a Sunday, which is interesting. I say this because I want to read this, okay? They say that office buildings were mostly empty and Texans were spending more time outdoors as opposed to inside, meaning a lot of people were not using electricity like they normally do during the middle of the week. That's a huge issue because if we see excessive heat during the middle of the week, like we are expected to witness this week, that's when some say our power grids could be negatively impacted. And the big worry is that all of this happened in June. We're still in June. And in Texas and most of the central parts of the United States, we see temperatures rise not in June, but in July and August. And that's the big worry, is we are not even at that time when we are going to see the peak of our heat. And again, it's not just Texas, it's not just Minnesota that are experiencing this excessive heat wave. I want you to take a look at this index from today. This index shows Fargo at 101, Omaha, Nebraska at 102, Wichita, Kansas at 99, got Dallas at 104, San Antonio 102, Houston at 103, and even Pensacola over at 101. And if you think that's the end of this heat wave, you're wrong. We are expecting that we are going to see some of the hottest temperatures on record this year in 2022. So enough about what is potentially coming, enough about the heat wave. I want to give you 6 tips on how you can actually stay cool if you don't have electricity. I also want to give you some tips on what you should be doing in case we do have a potential power outage. So here are what experts are telling us to do right now. The first thing is to drink plenty of water. That's the first thing that experts tell us. The second thing is fanning yourself. So taking a piece of paper or clothing or whatever you have and fanning yourself. If you do this quite a bit, this will actually raise your body's temperature by 1 degree. So they say don't do this. In order to actually lower your body's temperature, you would actually have to fan yourself and lower your temperature by 2 degrees, which means you go up 1 degree, you come down 2, you're actually down 1 degree. But in order to do that, in order to accomplish that goal, you really got to be fanning yourself. So that's probably not the best move. Tip number 3 is to take cool showers. This is something that they highly recommend, and do it often throughout the day. Tip number 4 is to use battery-powered fans if you have them, and if you don't, go and get some. Tip number 5, close all your blinds in your house, especially where the sun is actually shining. Keep your house as dark as possible because that will make it cooler inside. Tip number 6 is to take a wet rag or wet shirt, towel, whatever, wrap it around your neck and make sure that you keep it there for quite some time. This will keep your core body temperature a little bit cooler. Now, how do you prepare for a potential power outage? This is something that nobody wants to prepare for, but these are 3 tips that experts have. Number 1 is to have plenty of battery-operated flashlights and also have a couple solar lights. This is key. You need to have these things. The next thing they say is keep candles on hand and have food that doesn't require cooking. These are some of the things that they recommend. Now, I'm actually going to put a link down in the description box below to a flashlight over on Amazon that I absolutely love. It's a solar flashlight. Absolutely love this thing. Have a couple of my own, and I highly recommend these. So that's all I got for you guys today. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this daily upload, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.